Leona the Leopard. Leona the Leopard was sleek and sly, with spots on her fur and a gleam in her eye. She lived in the savannah where the grasses grow tall and the sun blazed hot from morning till nightfall. Leona was curious, as leopards can be, and she loved to explore, to roam wild and free. She'd climb up the trees, pounce on her prey, and play with her friends throughout the day. But though Leona was brave and bold, she still had a heart of pure gold. She'd help those in need without hesitation and show kindness to all without reservation. So let's follow Leona as she sets out to see the adventures that wait for a leopard so free. For though danger may lurk and challenges arise, Leona is ready with fire in her eyes. Chapter 2. Lost in the Savannah. One day while exploring, as leopards do, Leona heard an entirely new sound. She followed the noise, and what did she find? A group of animals, all in a bind. A gazelle, an elephant, and a meerkat, too, were lost in the savannah without a clue. Their families were missing, nowhere to be seen, and the animals were frightened, in a place so serene. Leona approached them with a friendly growl and asked them what happened to make them howl. The animals told her their story, so sad, and Leona knew right then she had to be their comrade. "Never fear," she said with a brave little smile. "I'll help you find your families in just a little while." So the group set out, with Leona in the lead, and though they were scared, they all felt a bit of relief. For Leona was smart and fast as can be, and with her help, the animals could see that there was hope in the midst of despair, and that with Leona by their side, they could go anywhere. Chapter 3. A Plan of Action. Leona and her friends were lost in the wild, but they wouldn't be beaten. No, not by a mile. They gathered together to plan their next move, and Leona took charge in her leopard groove. "We'll search high and low and look far and wide. We'll use all of our senses and our instincts inside. We'll work together to find our way back, and we won't stop until we're back on track." The gazelle was fast and could run with such grace. The elephant was strong and could move at a slow pace. The meerkat was tiny but could dig underground, and Leona was clever, with quick reflexes that astound. So they set out with their plan in mind to search for their families, who they hoped to find. They worked as a team, with Leona in charge, and though the road was tough, they marched forward with heart. When we work together, we can accomplish much, and though the journey may be hard, we can keep in touch. With the power of friendship and the strength of our will, we can conquer all and overcome every hill. Chapter 4. The Journey Begins. Leona and her friends set off on their quest to find their families and put their minds at rest. They walked for miles through the tall grasses so green, and though the journey was long, they kept up their keen. Leona led the way with her sharp senses on guard, and though the path was treacherous, they never grew bored. For there were new sights and sounds that they had never seen, and they marveled at the beauty of the savannah so serene. The gazelle ran ahead to scout out the land, and the elephant marched onward with his trunk in the sand. The meerkat dug holes to see what was below, and Leona followed close with her eyes all aglow. As they journeyed on, they met creatures so strange, from hyenas to rhinos, and monkeys in the trees so rang. But Leona and her friends never lost sight of their goal, and with each passing day they grew stronger, heart and soul. For the journey was not just a quest for their kin, but a lesson in courage and strength from within. And though the road was long, they never gave up hope, for they knew that with determination they could always cope. Chapter 5. Danger Lurks. Leona and her friends had traveled far, but the road ahead was lined with a danger bar. For they had stumbled upon a lion's den, and they knew they had to be careful now and then. The lion was fierce with a mighty roar, and his eyes glowed bright like never before. Leona and her friends knew they had to act fast, for the lion was known to be a hunter so vast. Leona stepped forward with her head held high and spoke to the lion with a voice so sly. "We mean you no harm, we're just passing through. We'll be on our way in a moment or two." The lion growled and bared his teeth, but Leona stood her ground without a peep, for she knew that fear could not control her, and with her wit and strength she could do anything for sure. The gazelle was swift and could dodge and weave. The elephant was tough, with a trunk that could heave. The meerkat was quick and could hide in the sand. And Leona was clever, with plans always so grand. Together they stood, against the lion so wildly, and with their bravery they tamed the beast in the wild. Danger may lurk in the depths of the savannah, but with courage and friendship, we can face it with our manna. Chapter 6. A Helping Hand. As Leona and her friends continued on their way, they found themselves lost, with no place to stay. The sun was setting, and they were all alone, but they knew they had to keep moving to find their way home. Just then, they heard a sound from the nearby trees, and out came a monkey, swinging with ease. He greeted them warmly and offered his hand, saying, "I'll help you find your way to your homeland." Leona and her friends were grateful indeed, for the monkey's help were just what they need. They followed him closely through the dense jungle brush, and though the journey was long, they never lost their hush. The monkey led them to a clearing so bright, and there they saw a sight that filled them with delight. For in the clearing was a stream and a cave so warm, and Leona and her friends knew they had found a new form. They rested and drank from the cool running stream, and they thanked the monkey for his kindness and gleam. Sometimes in life, we need a helping hand, and with the power of friendship, we can always stand. The journey was still long, but they had hope in their heart, for they knew that with each step, they were playing their part. And with each obstacle, they grew stronger and wise, and they knew that they could conquer anything. Chapter 7. Overcoming Obstacles. Leona and her friends continued their journey, facing obstacles that made their spirits turn so burny. But they never gave up, and they never lost their way, for they knew that with determination, they could find a new ray. The path was rocky, and the hills were so steep, but Leona and her friends trudged on without a single beep. The sun was hot, and the winds were so strong, but they pushed through it all and never once went wrong. At times they got lost, and the road was unclear, but they never lost hope, and they held their heads up so clearly. For they knew that with each challenge they grew wise, and with each victory they found new ways to rise. One day they came upon a river so wide, with currents so strong they feared they could never abide. But Leona was quick, and she hatched a plan to get across safely and on to the promised land. The gazelle was fast and could swim like a pro. The elephant was strong and could tow them row by row. The meerkat was small, but his courage was so great, and with Leona's leadership, they crossed the river with no debate. Overcoming obstacles was their greatest strength, and with each test, they found a new wavelength. In life, there will always be challenges to face, but with courage and friendship, we can conquer any place. Chapter 8. Reunited at Last. After days of travel and obstacles galore, Leona and her friends could see their home shore. The sun was setting, and the sky was so bright, and they knew they were close to their loved ones in sight. As they drew nearer, their hearts filled with glee, for they could hear the sounds of their family tree. The roar of the lions and the trumpet of the elephants were so strong, and they knew they had missed their loved ones for so long. Leona and her friends picked up their pace, for they couldn't wait to see their families embrace. As they arrived at the camp, they saw their loved ones so dear, and they knew they had made it with no more fear. The lion roared and the elephant trumpeted so loud as they welcomed back their missing crowd. The leopard cub nuzzled up to her mom so tight, and they knew they were reunited at last in sight. The adventure was over, and the journey so long, but they knew they were never really alone. For with each other they had the greatest gift of friendship and love that would never shift. Leona looked back at the journey they had made, and she knew that with each step she had grown and stayed. For in life we are all on a journey so grand, and with friendship and love we can conquer any land. Chapter 8. Reunited at Last. After days of travel and obstacles galore, Leona and her friends could see their home shore. The sun was setting, and the sky was so bright, and they knew they were close to their loved ones in sight. As they drew nearer, their hearts filled with glee, for they could hear the sounds of their family tree. The roar of the lions and the trumpet of the elephants were so strong, and they knew they had missed their loved ones for so long. Leona and her friends picked up their pace, for they couldn't wait to see their families embrace. As they arrived at the camp, they saw their loved ones so dear, and they knew they had made it with no more fear. The lion roared and the elephant trumpeted so loud as they welcomed back their missing crowd. The leopard cub nuzzled up to her mom so tight, and they knew they were reunited at last in sight. The adventure was over, and the journey so long, but they knew they were never really alone. For with each other they had the greatest gift of friendship and love that would never shift. Leona looked back at the journey they had made, and she knew that with each step she had grown and stayed. For in life we are all on a journey so grand, and with friendship and love we can conquer any land.